Hi, welcome to Audiobook Academy. This is a self-paced audiobook. There's no need to keep an eye on things. Just pay attention. Thank you for taking the time to listen. This is a book summary of Attached, The New Science of Adult Attachment and How It Can Help You Find, and Keep, Love. By Amir Levine. Can science help us improve our interpersonal relationships? When it comes to adult attachment, Attached tells us the scientific story behind it and how this understanding can help us find and maintain love. They collaborated on a book to help us make better decisions when it comes to love. Amir Levine and Rachel S. F. Heller. Dr. Levine is a psychiatrist and a neuroscientist. As a social organizational psychologist, Heller earned a master's degree from Columbia University in New York City. Scientifically, Attached helps us understand how our evolutionary past shapes the romantic relationships we have today, and how our attachment style influences the type of relationships we seek out in the present. Whether you're looking for a better understanding of what makes a relationship work, or if you're looking for new ways to improve your current relationships, this book is a must-read. Briefly, we'll discuss how to better understand our own attachment style and that of our partners, as well as how to better navigate our relationships. The age-old nature versus nurture argument still holds true. Because our ancestors relied on each other to survive hardships and predators, we have a deep-seated desire for closeness with other people. Ultimately, this desire is driven by our genes and life experiences. As a result, they were able to bear children and pass on the human gene pool by finding a compatible mate. Having a romantic partner is a part of our genetic makeup, but how we relate to them is where attachment theory comes in. Western parenting books from the mid-20th century advocated against parents coddling and smothering their children. In order to raise fearless and self-reliant children, parents were encouraged to give their children only a small amount of affection at a time. As a result of groundbreaking research done in the 1960s by renowned attachment theory psychologists Mary Ainsworth and John Bowlby, it became clear that children rely on their parents for more than just food and shelter, they rely on them for emotional support. However well provided for in terms of the necessities of life, a child raised without a primary caregiver such as a parent or other caregiver faces a much higher risk of developing physical, emotional, intellectual, and interpersonal problems. Genes and parents are not solely responsible for our desire for, and behavior in relationships, rather, there are a number of other factors that play a role as well. Parent-child relationships may no longer be necessary, but supportive everyday actions and a few kind words from a significant other can still go a long way to help us thrive, and we're only as needy as our unmet needs. Adults, like children, require and benefit from relationships that provide them with love, care, and security. This gives us the courage to go out into the world and thrive when a significant other is able to satisfy a basic attachment need, a deep-seated need for security, comfort, and love. On the other hand, the inverse is also true. People who can't meet our basic emotional needs may unintentionally prevent us from progressing and reaching our goals. We've never been taught this, though. In Western society, self-reliance is emphasized above all other values. To become more independent, we're told to put ourselves first, set clear boundaries, and focus on our own happiness, among other things. Because we're wired for relationships, self-help can actually do more harm than good. Our need to be dependent on others is what makes us independent, according to the dependency paradox. Anxiety decreases and bravery grows when our emotional needs are met. The strange situation test, performed by psychologist Mary Ainsworth, involved putting a mother and child in an unfamiliar environment. She felt safe enough to look around the room and play with all the different toys she found when her mother was nearby. This only got worse when her mother walked out on them. When the child's mother returned, he or she relaxed and resumed his or her previous behavior. Children benefit from having a strong social support system, but Ainsworth argues that our need for attachment persists throughout our lives, not just as children. As adults, we are put through a variety of unusual situations on a daily basis. Relationships that are safe and supportive can help us cope better in the face of adversity in life. To be able to rely on a significant other for emotional nourishment is beneficial to our mental and physical health, and dependence isn't a sign of weakening ourselves. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon University have found that people with supportive and interested partners have higher self-esteem than those with less supportive or interested partners. Relationships don't just affect our minds and hearts, they also affect our bodies, too. There are physiological changes that occur when we are in close proximity to someone we love. Findings from a study conducted at the University of Toronto show that people who suffer from high blood pressure but have positive attitudes toward their marriages report lower blood pressure when their partners are present, and vice versa. Anxiety levels rise even more when a partner with whom a person is unhappy in a marriage is present. Our mental and physical health can be affected by how we perceive our relationships. As a result, how can we use attachment science to our advantage? We can begin by learning about the 3 attachment styles: secure, anxious, and avoidant. Having an understanding of these 3 broad categories can help us better understand our own and our partner's needs for intimacy, as well as how they might act in a romantic setting. What kind of person are you? In this section, we'll examine 3 types. There is a distinct attachment style for everyone, regardless of age, gender, or location. 50% of us are secure attachers, 20% are anxious, and about 25% are avoidant. The remaining 5% are a mix of both anxious and avoidant in nature. Which of the following best describes your personality? You're a naturally warm and loving person who enjoys intimacy and closeness, and you're able to handle the ups and downs of a relationship with grace and ease. It's easier to communicate your needs and desires, anticipate and try to meet the needs of the person you're dating. It's safe to say that if this describes you, you have a strong sense of attachment to people and things. Perhaps you enjoy intimacy and closeness, but for some reason, you find that relationships consume a large portion of your time and energy. This causes you to worry that your partner doesn't enjoy being close as much as you do, and you worry about it more often than not. In order to avoid saying something that might irritate your partner, you are aware of their mood and behavior swings. You may be an anxious person if you're like this more often than not. Independence and self-determination may be more important to you than closeness and intimacy. When it comes to relationships, you don't have the same level of anxiety as the rest of us. For those of us who prefer to keep our relationships at arm's length, we may be the avoidant type. A better understanding of our attachment style can shed light on how and why we behave in relationships. However, understanding our partner's attachment style can be just as helpful, if not more so. Suppose we gain a better understanding of our partner's views on intimacy and how we can better communicate with them. This will teach us how to develop a stronger emotional bond or how to let go of a relationship that isn't serving our best interests. Is it possible to decipher our partner's attachment style by analyzing their behavior? A person's behavior and words have the power to reveal a lot about them. Here are a few hints to help you along the way. My partner's personality type is. The go-with-the-flow types are the secure types. They give us space when we need it and hold us close when we're feeling isolated or alone. However, they aren't like avoiders, who may appear to be indifferent to our needs, because they aren't anxious about the relationship. Keep their promises, arrive on time and answer the phone as promised. Even though they discuss their ideas in detail with you, they never make any decisions without your approval first. From the beginning, they welcome you into their home and into their family's lives. When it comes to exchanging information, they're excellent at it. These people are adept at making demands. If something bothers them, they'll let you know about it right away. They have no qualms about saying the words "I love you" or broaching touchy topics. Secure attachers care about their relationships, and when disagreements arise, they are fair and willing to compromise. They provide and enjoy being a source of support for their partner. Those who are fearful crave intimacy, whereas anxious people have excellent threat detection skills. That might mean that they're more concerned with the success of a relationship than others. Anxious people may ask about your past relationships to see if they measure up to your current one. Their concern for your activities when you're not together could come across as overly protective. On the other hand, because of their heightened sensitivity, they're extremely caring and affectionate. Hand-holders, huggers, and kissers all fall into this category. Anxious people require emotional support from a close friend or family member. Confidence can be alleviated by being consistent, reliable, and always present in their lives because of this. If you can calm their fears and give them the affection they crave, you'll have a loving and loyal companion to guide you through the dangers of the outside world. There is no overwhelming need for closeness with avoidant types. It's not uncommon for them to feel suffocated if they're too close to others. There can be a wide range of nonverbal cues from avoiders. During 1 week, you might receive 8 phone calls, while the following week, you might receive none at all. It's possible they'll be all over you at first, but they may begin to distance themselves from you as you get closer. They'll use the "I've got too much to do" excuse to get away from the group. They need a lot of room and privacy. Are you going to meet their family and friends right away? It's probably not going to happen. We won't be moving in together anytime soon. And marriage isn't a word that's thrown around casually by these people. People who need a certain level of independence in a relationship may withdraw further or break up with the person. Being in a relationship with a secure type has been shown to be the best predictor of overall relationship happiness in the research. Couples who are anxious and avoidant of intimacy have the lowest chances of compatibility. In spite of this, research shows that anxious and avoidant people tend to be attracted to each other. Because of this, Relationships characterized by anxiety and avoidance can be extremely unstable if neither partner pays attention. At times, conflicts can spiral out of control, resulting in a self-destructive spiral in which both parties try their best in order to avoid each other. Without meeting each other's needs and making reasonable compromises, a relationship will suffer, no matter how much they love each other. The 3 attachment styles can help us make better decisions about who we date, marry, or even if it's time to break up with a relationship that's no longer serving us. It doesn't matter who we're in a romantic relationship with, but learning how to communicate and handle conflict effectively can give it a fighting chance of survival. We can only find and keep love if we have good lines of communication open between us. We all understand the importance of being able to communicate effectively, but this is a skill that not everyone possesses. Why is it so difficult to discuss sensitive topics, especially in the beginning stages of a relationship? What if we're afraid that our partners will think we're too dependent, or that they'll react negatively to us raising a specific issue? We tend to put our concerns and sensitive issues under the rug, hoping that they will fade away. Sadly, this does not work. In the course of time, dust accumulates and feelings of anxiety and frustration build up. How we find and keep a good partner depends on how well we communicate with each other. Whenever we've met someone we like, our authors advise us to learn how to express our wants and needs clearly from the beginning of the relationship. This may be awkward, but it's a great way to learn more about our partner's perspective on our relationship. Despite the fact that we may be disappointed by what we hear, it is imperative that we establish clear expectations from the start. As long as we remember the word effective in effective communication, we can all improve our communication skills. Instead of apologizing for feeling the way we do, we need to develop the courage and self-confidence to face our feelings head-on. In many cases, the lack of legitimacy is what prompts us to voice our concerns in the first place. In order to communicate effectively, it is important to use certain words and phrases. For clarity, use words like I feel, I need, and I want to express what you're thinking. Give examples to back up your claims to avoid misunderstandings. Avoid blaming others and stick to facts. Our goal isn't to make someone else feel bad, but rather to have an open and honest discussion. It doesn't matter how much communication we have, disagreements will inevitably arise. Learn how to fight correctly. The idea that romantic relationships are conflict-free in the movies is a fabrication. In fact, this is a positive development. Fighting has the potential to bring people closer together while also enhancing our overall well-being. We must, however, learn how to fight properly. Keep in mind that no one is a mind reader. Keep in mind that your partner's needs and feelings may not occur to you, so it's important to express yourself clearly. Disagreements are not a zero-sum game. It's important to pay attention to the well-being of your partner when it comes to relationships. Consider what your partner really needs and how they are feeling. Even if we don't agree, it's important to acknowledge the other person's feelings and needs. Keep the conversation focused on the subject at hand to avoid an unwarranted escalation. You don't want to get into a fight with your family over the holidays over who didn't do the dishes. Don't withdraw or play the silent treatment card until an agreement has been reached. In the anxious-avoidant relationship, anxious people should give their avoidant partners plenty of room. This will help both of them feel more at ease. It's okay to let them go if they feel the need to do so. Don't let it get to you. It's not your fault. It's not always about you when someone quits. In order to get the results they want in a relationship, anxious people can teach their avoidant partners what they value by reinforcing the positive behaviors they want from them. Anxious partners can try to look at the bright side, avoid blaming each other too much, and take responsibility when necessary. Even if you and your partner are in conflict, you can resolve it by staying present, engaged in the conversation, and sensitive to your partner's feelings. However, there are times when resolving conflicts, making compromises, and working things out simply aren't possible. You have to decide whether or not the relationship is worth your time in situations like this. The best thing we can do for our long-term happiness is walk away from a relationship where our needs aren't met. End of the story. A happy relationship is all about finding someone who can meet your needs, according to our authors. Accepting that our partner's wants and needs don't line up with our own can be a difficult step. Our deep relational needs can be acknowledged and appreciated rather than judged, and we can align ourselves with someone whose needs are better aligned with our own. Finding love and stability in a relationship is more likely if we can master this skill. When you're in a healthy relationship, you feel better emotionally. So, why take a chance on love? Discovering our own unique style of attachment and finding a partner who shares our preferences is possible with the help of scientific research. When we have a partner who believes in us, is able to communicate with us, and has our back, we have a better chance of achieving our goals. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Please don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. See you in next audiobook.